What's up? A to Z Sports Live on a Friday. Glad to have everybody along, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Sam Phelan in for Zach Bingham again today. Zach was originally scheduled to be back on the show, but we had some good news and a different project that Zach is now spending some time on this morning. But that's all I can say about that as of right now. So Zach will be back next week. He is flying to Dallas over the weekend. And so Sam will be with us for the next few days, our Titans reporter at A2ZSports.com. So welcome in everybody as we talk today about the Friday the matchup for the Titans and the Eagles, and a chance for the Titans to switch the narrative on them and challenge their haters and prove them wrong if they can upset the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly at the Link on Sunday, high noon Central Time. So, Sam, we're going to have a great show about this. Are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC? That's a conversation we'll get to. We'll hear from Titans All-Pro safety Kevin Byard here in a second about a question that was asked to him earlier in the week after the loss to the Bengals. And then Sam demanded that we talk about the college football playoff expansion. So we will do that. And I know Big Ten Jeff is here. So I know Big Ten Jeff will appreciate that conversation. But Sam said we need to talk about this. And I agree with him. I think we do need to talk about this. And then we'll wrap up the week with Ain't That Good News, as we do every Friday on the show. But welcome in, everybody. Sam, tell them what they got to do before we get officially going.
Yep. Before we get it going here, make sure you guys are sharing the show. We have a lot to talk about today. Talking Titans haters, talking college football playoff per my request, as Austin said. But we want to do it with as many of you as possible. So if you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and share that link. Send it to a friend. Retweet us at A to Z Sports on Twitter. However it is you consume the show this morning, make sure you're sending it over to a friend or many friends and getting them involved in the conversation as well. Get that going before anything else.
Yep, and let's do it officially. Let's get it going. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter, in for Zach Bingham. Check out Sam's work at A2ZSports.com. We got to thank well, first off, we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show on our Twitter timeline, also Instagram and TikTok for more of our content. Now we got to thank our sponsors before we officially get going, because they make it happen and they make it free for you, and they help you out, like Wilson County Hyundai. So if you're looking for a brand new vehicle, especially around the holidays, make Wilson County Hyundai a part of that new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. It's better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call them. Free case consultation, 800-800-4600. So Sam in for Zach today again. And when we can, we had some good updates there. With A to Z is why Zach's not on the show for today, but he'll be back next week. But Sam, Honky Tonk in the YouTube chat pre-show, when he was chatting in the waiting room, was responding and reacting to the title of today's show. The Titans put their haters to the test with an upset chance against AJ in the Eagles. And Honky Tonk said, who are the haters? So Sam, I'll toss it to you. Who are the Titans haters as of right now, with this team sitting at 7-4 and the 3 seed in the AFC?
I mean, they know who they are. I'll say that much. I mean, it is, let's see, name a few specifically. Richard Sherman, went over him last week. He's a Titans hater. Any national media member that doesn't give this team enough credit, hater. People who don't think that they can compete with the best in the NFL, hater. That's who the Titans haters are to me. I feel like Titans fans out there have a nice laundry list going of everybody that has spited this team. But all of those doubters are put to the test this weekend, because for all the people that say they can't beat good teams or that they're not contenders, we're going to see them against the very best and see how they stack up this weekend. So That is the test that these haters are being put to today. And some of them, if the Titans were to upset the Eagles in Philly, would have to eat their words, which gets us into kind of our discussion here today, Austin.
Absolutely. And Sam, you were at the Monday press conference when Mike Vrabel, Robert Woods, and Kevin Byard were talking to you guys, the Titans Daily Media. Kevin Byard was asked a question kind of along this topic, right?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, that's been the story going on, and another tough loss to the Bengals. And it kind of felt like that loss to the Bengals was, it reminiscent of the playoff game. It's frustrating, and they've been in a spot this season where they beat up on the teams in the division. But the Titans have one win this season against a team with a winning record. That is the Washington Commanders, who at the time were starting Carson Wentz. And you and I said on the post-game show, like, okay, you won the game, but I don't know how impressive of a win that is because it's the Washington Commanders. Now they have a winning record, but that's your only win against these playoff contending teams. Kevin Byard, Titan safety, as you mentioned, was asked by Paul Kaharski if it was concerning that the Titans hadn't won any of these big games. Here's what KB had to say.
Yesterday, you maybe weren't sure what the not beating the better teams on the schedule meant. I'm just wondering if overnight and kind of with some time to think about it, you have a better sense of that and if it's cause for concern.
I wouldn't say it's a cause for concern, but it is frustrating. Obviously, you go into these games against teams that, they're going to be there in the playoffs and we don't win those ball games. It's frustrating for us, frustrating as a team because we feel like we're one of those teams as well. We feel like we know that we're a really good team. We feel like we're going to be there in January. So to not beat those teams is disappointing at the time. But, I wouldn't say it's a cause for concern because, more than likely we'll see one of these teams, in January when we get to the playoffs.
That is Kevin Byard. Austin, you hadn't seen that yet. So what's your initial reaction?
Well, he's right. Kevin Byard says the Titans will be there in January, and week 18 is in January, so they'll be there in wild card weekend. But I think if you are one of the Titans haters that you kind of talked about, the Titans haters will say, well, yeah, the Titans are going to be there in the playoffs because the division sucks, and the Titans are going to win the AFC South basically by default because the Colts are terrible. Matt Ryan's now old. The Jags are still not in any point to compete, and the Texans are the worst team in football. So that's what the haters will say. But Kevin Byard's right, and I do think it is frustrating. And when you look at who are the teams that we're talking about here that the Titans cannot play with, right? It's the Bills. They ran into a buzzsaw in week 2 on Monday night against Buffalo, and Buffalo blew them out. Then the Kansas City Chiefs game, Sunday Night Football, without your starting quarterback. You're starting Malik Willis for the second time. You take that thing to overtime before Pat Mahomes just outlasts the Titans. And I think, that's a net positive Titans. I think if you're looking overall at this culture of the team and how they have it set up. And I think the real bummer is the Bengals game. If the Titans beat the Bengals, I don't think you're having this conversation. I think you understand what the Bills game was. You understand, and I think you have a positive swing about the Chiefs loss, and then they beat the Bengals, and all is well, right? I mean, I think losing to Cincinnati is the one that really fuels the haters with their ammo to go after and discredit what the Titans have done to get to 7-4, winning 7 of their last 9.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Giants game is another one. It's a good team that you came up short with on a last-second kick, but that's week 1. Right. And I think that there's like that feeling of, okay, well, it was week 1. It was, too long ago to even apply to the current team now in their current state. But yeah, that Bengals one brings up a lot of those memories of the playoffs last year, and it starts to kind of highlight 8-3 to 7-4 is a big difference. And now you can look at the Titans and say, well, look at all these games that you've lost. You haven't played a good team yet. So down the stretch here, I think they need a couple wins to prove themselves to national media, to a lot of the people that don't think that they can contend late in the season. They have to beat these teams eventually if they want to earn that respect.
Yeah, and they have to start winning games. Like right now, the Titans have lost key tiebreakers to Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. Yeah. They don't play the Ravens. They don't play the Dolphins. So there's an opportunity for the Titans to be behind all of the other division winners if that plays out that way and the Titans are the 4 seed playing the 5 seed, which I think the 5 seed in the AFC is a Super Bowl threat. like the top wild card team in the AFC,
Yeah.
whether it's the Bills or the Dolphins or whoever doesn't win the North, is a serious contender to win the Super Bowl or to at least go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Yeah, nobody really normally the difference between the 3 or the 4 seed or whatever it is doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You're probably traveling for the AFC Championship game in either scenario, so it's like maybe you get a second home playoff game, still probably not. It doesn't usually matter. It matters right now. And I think earlier in the year, it's too early to look at that stuff early in the year because you look at right now the Bills or the 7 seed or something like that where you're playing a great team. But it's going to be one of Buffalo or Miami, I think is probably a slam dunk for the 5 seed. And if I'm the Titans, I don't want to see either of those teams in the first round. Like that is worst case scenario is having to play the loser of the AFC South or the AFC East rather in the first round. That would be worst case scenario. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's ask this question. And again, the conversation, the Titans can put these haters to the test with an upset chance against AJ Brown and the Eagles. Let's get you guys involved more here this morning on a Friday. Are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC? It's a pretty simple question. Are they contenders or pretenders in the AFC right now? But first, before we get to all of your answers, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. I tell you what, the Bone and Joint Institute, there is nothing pretending about them. They will help you get back to health if you have an unfortunate injury and however it happens. If it's in sports, if it's playing rec league softball with your buddies, if it's intramurals in college, or if your son or daughter gets hurt playing youth or high school sports, the Bone and Joint Institute is the place to go in the region. And by region, I don't just mean Williamson County or Nashville Metro. That includes Southern Kentucky and Northern Alabama. The Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin has the best resources in the region to get you back when it comes to orthopedic help right there. So make sure you know where to turn. Bone and Joint Institute, their website, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks, and when you use the promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app, you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football. No reason not to do it when it is risk-free. So right now, we're talking contenders, pretenders, however you feel about the Tennessee Titans. Go ahead and place that wager. Just make sure you're doing it on BetMGM and using that promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app and a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football.
All right, the question we're asking, are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC? I'm attempting to scroll up to the top of the comments. I got it now. So here, Steven starts us off by saying pretenders. D Good says, with the offensive line, they're pretenders. Lou Man says contenders there on YouTube. KG on YouTube says contenders, no doubt. Tighten Up says pretenders. Jake splits it up. He says defensively, yes, contenders. Offensively, without Derek, they're pretenders. So without Derek, as in without Derrick Henry on the field, without Derrick Henry being effective, with Derrick Henry injured, like I don't know where Jake's.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw a flag on that, Jake. I mean, I think you got to pick one. That's part of the question. Is any team like you can say, well, without Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are pretenders. So I mean, with the team as it is, assuming Derrick Henry is healthy, their style of football, does it translate? That's the question.
Yeah, Titans Kyle on YouTube says contenders because of that defense. Let's see. Stephen Wood Jr. says pretenders. Now we got a string of contenders with Jimbo, Dago, and Jacoby, with contenders. Xavier's also a contender here. Vote. Jarrell says it hurts. Now, I don't know if that's a pun or not, but it hurts. But it's that the Titans are pretenders. Eric Castillo says pretenders. Vasa on YouTube contenders. Travis says reluctantly pretenders. Jabu contenders with question mark. I think that's fair. Jeremy Michael says contender. The passing game is coming alive. The run game has got to get better though. Jonathan Caverly says pretenders. So that's some of the comments. You guys continue to comment. We'll go back to those throughout here. And so, Sam, what do you think? Are the Titans contenders or pretenders in the AFC?
I think they're contenders. And I know that like their style of football is not pretty. It's not what the NFL wants to advertise. Sometimes it's not what fans want to see. I still think the Titans are contenders. I think they're contenders for a couple reasons. Number one is that defense that was brought up by the chat. This defense gets off the field on third down. They're effective in the red zone. They bend, they don't break. They keep them in games. They have not given up 20 points in regulation. Before last week, there was a long stretch where they hadn't done 20 points in regulation. That keeps you in every football game. And I think Mike Vrabel is another reason why I put the Titans in the contender category. They're not the favorite by any means, but they have shown over the last couple weeks that they beat the teams they're supposed to, and the teams that are right up there in that contender bubble, they play tough. Like, we sat here talking about that Kansas City game and said they win that game if Ryan Tannehill is their starting quarterback right there. They played well enough to beat Kansas City. Kansas City is the slam dunk number one in the eyes of everybody in the AFC right now. You probably beat Cincinnati if not for a couple plays, and it's always going to come down to a couple plays. So I also want to separate last year's team from this year's team. Not the same team. Them losing in the playoffs last year doesn't mean they're going to do it this year. And just because you didn't win the Super Bowl doesn't mean you weren't a contender to do so. So I think the Titans are a contender. And until they prove me otherwise, I firmly believe that to be the case.
Yeah. So my overall answer is also contender. I don't think they're pretenders. I think they're going to be in any type of game they play. I think that Bills game has proven to be somewhat of an anomaly, an outlier. The Bills game, when it happened, was the biggest loss that Mike Vrabel has had in 4+ seasons as Titans head coach. And you don't see the Titans getting blown out like they did. It was the worst thing's going to happen type of game there. So Bill Barnwell of ESPN.com, who I have a interesting thought on Bill Barnwell. Sometimes he does really good work. Other times he looks like this guy from South Park in his basement trying to pump out content. But Bill Barnwell did, I think, put together something that was interesting this week, and it was the NFL contenders' biggest weaknesses and playoff teams to avoid. And so he's got in the NFL, both AFC and NFC, he's got it narrowed down to 10 teams. He has 10 teams that are considered contenders, right? And so he's got them ranked from 10 to 1. 6 of these 10 teams are AFC teams. 4 of them are NFC teams. The 4 NFC teams are the Eagles, who the Titans play, the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the San Francisco 49ers. So he's basically leaving out an entire division of the NFC South.
Fair enough.
Very fair to do that. But the AFC teams that he has as contenders are Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, the Titans, and the Bengals. And he's got the Bengals actually at number 10 behind the Titans, who come in at number 9. And he has the Titans' fatal flaw is the play action defense. Because the Titans are so good at stopping the run, they have the potential to get burned with play action pass. And what happens in the playoffs when they face a team that has a strong play action pass team and game, and the team to avoid for the Titans, Bill Barnwell says, are the Buffalo Bills. But I just think the Titans, we have not seen the Titans offense at its best yet, in my opinion. I think the Titans offense still has their best football of the season ahead of them. We've seen glimpses and moments of really effective, efficient, explosive offense, balanced offense. But, the Packers game and scoring 27 points on Thursday Night Football is the closest thing we've seen to putting it all together. And even there, I think they left some points on the field, an missed extra point, Tannehill throwing the pick that could have extended that, maybe score 30 for the first time this season. Jake says we did see that in Green Bay. I think they can be better than what they were in Green Bay overall. So that leaves me to believe The defense is very good. They need Danico Autry back. They need to settle in with some of their busts that they had against the Bengals and play better on the outside. But I think this team's best football is ahead of them, and that's the right way to play it. It's okay to not have your best football in September and October, but to get to your best football in December, that's when you want to start peaking.
I mean, what did we talk about yesterday? We talked about a couple things. Number one is Treylon Burks and how much he has become a part of this offense and the sudden growth that we have seen from the rookie, maybe unlocking a little bit of their passing game. And if Treylon Burks can do that, that's another dimension. The second thing we talked about was Derrick Henry, and we've seen the Derrick Henry 102 yards per game in December and January. That has been something that, I asked Derek about it yesterday. He said, I don't know what it is. I asked Todd Downing why he thought Derek did that. And he said, well, it's a testament to Derek's conditioning, his commitment, and the philosophy of football here that we stay physical in December and January when some of these other teams might be ready to pack it up and call it a season. So if these are things that are continuing to get better with the Titans offense, I agree with you. And I think certainly the Titans defense is a different defense than what it was weeks 1 and week 2. That was a trial period. They had to figure some stuff out. And since week 3, we have seen them be a much different unit that has been consistently competitive and very good. Last year, nobody thought Cincinnati was contenders. Like, they went into that playoffs being like, yeah, I guess they're fun, but like they're not actually going to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. And sure enough, they beat everybody in the AFC that they had to. So you never really know if you're one of those top teams in the playoff picture. And right now, the Titans are one of those top teams, which is, again, why I throw them in the contender bucket. And this will certainly cement that if they can pull off a win in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and so somebody did ask, and I want to go back and find this because I was just looking this up as you were going through your point there, Sam. Somebody asked, Jeremy, on YouTube, do we know how often Vrabel loses back-to-back games? I think that's an interesting point, and obviously the Titans started 0-2 this season, so there's one. And I just went back and looked, and if we say with Ryan Tannehill as the starter, so if you remove the first 6 games of his of 2019, when Marcus Mariota lost back-to-back games in week 2 and week 3 against the Colts and Jags. Mariota lost back-to-back games in week 5 and 6 against the Bills and the Broncos. Then Tannehill took over. So every year with Ryan Tannehill, they've lost back-to-back games once. So in 2019, they did it against Houston and New Orleans late in the season. If you remember, that Saints game had 0 playoff implications for either team. Derrick Henry sat out. Jeffrey Simmons sat out. The Titans lost that game where they could have won it, but they lost back-to-back against Houston and the Saints in 2019 late. In 2020, the Titans lost back-to-back games. If you remember, started 5-0, lost to Pittsburgh at home with a missed field goal by Gostkowski. Then they lose to Joe Burrow and those Bengals, right? Then they get it together. They win the division at 11-5. 2021, Mike Vrabel's Titans team last season lost back-to-back games versus the Texans in the rain, 5 turnover, 4 interception game from Tannehill. And then the next week had 2 100-yard rushers with Hilliard and Foreman, but lost up in New England by a lot. And so that's, it's happened once with Ryan Tannehill as a starter. So, it's already happened once this season. Does that make you feel any better about this Eagles game? Because it happened, because they just come off a loss here.
I mean, I don't know if it makes me feel, I don't know if it means a ton to me. I mean, it does speak to just the culture of Mike Vrabel and his ability to consistently have them competitive. Like, things don't spiral on your team when your head coach keeps you in football games and puts you in a position to succeed. It just doesn't really work that way. You tend to bounce back and to stay competitive all the way through. So that's really what I attribute it to. I'm not sure it makes me feel better or worse or anything other than knowing I don't think the Titans get blown out. And as good as Philadelphia is, I think the Eagles are the most complete team in the NFL. I think they're better than Kansas City. I think they're better than Buffalo. Like, I don't look at this roster and see a weakness really much of anywhere. Like they've been pretty strong in most areas of football, which is why this is the ultimate test. But I still don't believe the Titans get blown out. I think they play it tight. I think it's a one possession game. I'm surprised if it's not.
All right, so let's ask this question, Sam. I think it's a natural follow-up to our conversation, contenders versus pretenders in the AFC for the Titans. If the Titans beat the Eagles Sunday, how does that change the pretender narrative around this team? If the Titans beat the Eagles on Sunday, how does that change the narrative around Mike Vrabel's team? But let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's better health coverage for you, for your family, whatever your situation is. You can plan on them for health, dental, and vision. And they've been doing it for Tennesseans at a high level for now over 75 years. And there's so many different types of ways that Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out. Maybe you don't have health coverage through your employer. Maybe you're a young guy just out of college, young man or woman out of college, and you're on your parents' plan, and you're trying to figure out what that next step is in your life when you have to go do your own health coverage. Farm Bureau Health Plans is the way to go. Again, fbhp.com/ATOZ is how to do it. Zach Bingham saved 20% per month from his health coverage when he jumped on board. Jack Gentry jumped on board. So you can do it too, just like the folks at A to Z Sports. So again, how to get involved with Farm Bureau Health Plans for better coverage, rates, and service, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is known as the king of sportsbooks, and for good reason, because this pro football season, they offer a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football when you use the promo code ATOZ Sports. Find your picks for this weekend, settle in, place them on BetMGM. Use promo code ATOZ Sports and enjoy a risk-free bet up to $1,000. No reason not to do it when it's risk-free using BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app.
Yep, visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions, total qualification, eligibility requirements. Awards issued as knowledgeable for bets credit for bets expiring 7 days. For Palma game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Sam asking the question now: if the Titans beat the Eagles, does it change the narrative? And Danny just says no narrative changes with a win. That's interesting. Have you seen some other comments you want to go to?
Yeah, Anton says, well, people say the Eagles sucked, so the narrative would be the Eagles didn't beat anyone good. That's one that I'm seeing right there. Let's see. What else we got here? Nick says that they actually beat a team over 500. That will be the narrative. Orlando says it'll give us a win against a good team, but won't change the narrative. Johnny says none. Still lost all the AFC best playoff teams. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Justin says fluke will be the narrative. So I'm not sure Titans fans are convinced that a win changes the narrative. And if you're talking about the national media narrative, Austin, I agree. I don't think a win over the Eagles changes anything in terms of how the Titans are going to be talked about, because NFL media is always looking for a reason to discredit a team. It's the reason why the 9-2, I believe they're 9-2, Minnesota Vikings are sitting here getting ripped apart for being 9-2 with 2 blowout losses, but saying, well, they didn't beat anybody. So if the Titans beat the Eagles, I don't think it changes the Titans narrative as much as it changes the Eagles narrative. It turns into, well, the Eagles haven't beat anybody, as one of the commenters mentioned, but their national media is always going to doubt the Tennessee Titans because they don't have the quarterback. They don't have the playmaking wide receivers. They're not fun or pretty on paper. And so when you look at projecting a playoff team, they're not the fun pick. So no, I don't think it will change how they're perceived or how people view them as contenders in the AFC, because of the other point that was pointed out. They did lose to the Bills and the Chiefs, and that's what will continue to be the story as you head into the AFC playoff picture of, well, they can't beat the teams that they'll have to play. I think it should. I mean, like I said, I think they're contenders, and beating Philadelphia just cements that for me, that they really can beat anybody. But national media will look for any excuse to discredit this team because they're not fun on paper. So no, I don't think it does.
Especially when you're playing a large market team like the Philadelphia Eagles, the national media is always going to go to the story that has the bigger audience, and the Eagles have a bigger audience than the Titans. So I get your point there. And that's what the conversation afterwards will be. Well, are the Eagles legit, or have they taken advantage of the Packers being down? Have they taken advantage of the Cardinals, and they got the Vikings early, right? You know, they had the Texans and the Jags and the Commanders early too. And the Colts suck now. They beat the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. Like, all these things crop up into the conversation about the Eagles when you're looking at the Titans that are just rolling through, playing a bunch of close games, figuring out how to win both of them, and or most of those close games. And, you know, they had some slip away, but the Titans are rolling and are confident in who they are. I kind of have to agree. I think it's wrong that the narrative won't change about the Titans if they beat the Eagles. If they go on the road and beat the highest scoring, best, most explosive offense in football that's running the ball like crazy, they can throw the ball all over the place. You know, I think it would be ridiculous to not give the Titans more credit. So I think Mike Vrabel's also a factor in this too, because national media does trust him.
No, yeah. I mean, it just comes down to, like, what did we see in Green Bay? We saw an awesome, full team, dynamic, well-rounded Titans win in prime time on the road in a tough place to play. And the story that I ranted about, and this is going to be multiple shows in a row now that I've gone off on Richard Sherman and the Amazon Prime crew, but the story was, all right, that's cool, but they don't have A.J. Brown anymore. And the reason, like, national media does not invest time into the Titans to watch the Titans play, to understand what they're trying to do. They look at it from a bird's eye view, looking down on the Tennessee Titans, saying, well, they traded A.J. Brown, so their team must be worse, so they must not be contenders. And that's not going to go away until you win playoff games on a national stage. Even if they beat the Eagles, like you said, the attention goes to Philly. The attention goes to, are the Eagles worse than we thought they did? Nobody stops to realize maybe the Titans are just doing what the Titans do, and they will always stay competitive and always win these games, and they're a dangerous team come playoff time. Unfortunately, the narrative of 2022 in Tennessee is the A.J. Brown-less Tennessee Titans. And until you watch the games and really invest in this team, you're like, well, they must be a worse team because they don't have A.J. Brown, which is probably true. But then then they must not be capable of doing anything come playoff time.
Sam, we kind of talked about this morning. We opened our BetMGM apps and our pre-show conversation and noticed that the Eagles are just 4.5-point favorites against the Titans. Remember, in Kansas City, Sunday Night Football, the Titans were 12.5, maybe 13. That was with Malik Willis starting. But we knew Tannehill did travel, and that number was high, even when there was a thought that Tannehill could play or it was an unknown. And Tannehill's probably worth, at least a field goal. But it's just 4.5 to the Eagles. Did that surprise you from the odds makers that it's not bigger?
No, it didn't. I mean, I know you were surprised.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm shocked if this is more than a one-score game. And I know on paper, Philadelphia is the better team. I do think they are the better team pound for pound. And the Titans have an uphill battle to try and win this game. But I have a really hard time seeing the Titans get blown out. They don't do it. They are competitive. That is what their style of football and what Mike Vrabel brings to the table, where at most they lose by a touchdown. That's my perspective on it. So no, I don't think 4.5 is shocking, because you cover if you're down by a field goal or by 4, and then if you lose by a touchdown, you don't cover. That feels like the right number to me. I think they're in the game till the end.
Yeah, Orlando says, you know who else was a 4-point favorite? The Bills last night, and what happened? Yeah, but that was in New England. That was a road game. The Eagles are at home. The Eagles are at home and just a 4.5-point favorite against the Titans, who come off a loss where they could only score 16 points, and the Eagles put up a crap ton against the Packers and did it by running for 360 yards. The Eagles' box score against the Packers was that of a college football Power 5 team playing a Group of 5 team. Nobody runs for 362 yards
in a
game in the NFL. The Titans ran for 300 against the Texans a month ago. But that's ridiculous. The Texans might as well be a group of 5 team. The Packers are bad, but they're not that bad.
Could Alabama beat the Texans? People are asking.
Not this year. Not this year. Georgia. Could Georgia I'm just kidding. But
some people are asking, Austin.
Yeah,
we have to have the conversation.
If Tennessee had Hendon Hooker, could they beat the Texans? No, I'm kidding. But that's, it's I guess why I'm so shocked is because it was at Kansas City minus the Chiefs I think he got up to 13.5, right?
Yeah.
And that was without Tannehill. Let's just say Tannehill was playing, it's still probably 8.5. It
was without Treylon Burks too.
Yeah, but wide receivers don't move spreads, especially rookie wide receivers who haven't caught a touchdown pass yet. Like that's not going to change Vegas's opinion. So quarterbacks move lines. Nobody else really does. And so if it's, double the spread for Kansas City I just find that interesting.
Well, I think the Titans proved a lot in Kansas City. I think that's the difference is you went into Kansas City saying they were going to get blown out. I thought they were going to lose by, 30 when I heard Ryan Tannehill wasn't playing in Kansas City, and taking them to overtime kind of cemented what I was saying earlier of being like, okay, this team's going to play everybody close. And so I think that's the difference looking at this spread to that spread is 4.5 is probably Vegas odds makers being like, yeah, let's not underestimate these guys and put it around 10 points again. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill returning is worth a couple points on the spread, but the Titans have continued to prove themselves as just playing close games.
Yeah, absolutely. A to Z Sports here live on this Friday show. We're going to get to Ain't That Good News here later on. Soup says the Eagles don't cover spreads. Yeah, and everybody, we agree that, yes, any NFL team would beat any college football team, and it would not be even close. The Eagles do, and early in the season, the Eagles were covering their first half spreads like it was like with ease. So, all right. So Adam says, are you taking the Eagles to cover them? No, I usually don't bet NFL spreads. I feel like that's a trap. I do look at them, and I try to analyze how that might look like, how the game might play out based off of what Vegas thinks. And I thought 4.5 was a lot lower than I had expected it to be. So Sam, let's get to this because I did see a comment that kind of transitions us nicely. Jake says, Austin, you mean like the 12-team playoff going to cause with blowouts? Ohio State would be paired with Tulane at the moment. That's trash. So, yeah, we're going to talk about this. Sam demanded. He pounded the table. Dwight Schrute winning the award, pounding the podium. I need to talk about the playoff expanding. So we're gonna do that. All right, we're going to set up what it would look like with the college football playoff expansion. And we're going to know this from all of you guys. Do you buy or sell the expanded 12-team college football playoff format? Do you buy or sell the college football 12-team expanded format? But let me tell you guys about Hughes and Coleman. I'll tell you this. If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need to call them for a free case consultation and let them go win you every dollar you possibly deserve from the insurance company because Hughes and Coleman have the resources to do it. They had the track record to prove it as well by recovering over $1 billion for their clients in Tennessee and in Kentucky. They can do it for you. They're the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. They're the official injury lawyers of A-to-Z Sports. So if you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. Their number is 800-800-4600. Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, Principal Office, Nashville, Tennessee.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, offering a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000 when you use promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app. We were just talking about the number for this weekend, Titans and Eagles. Titans 4.5 point underdogs. So whether you think, that number's too high, we play close games, the Titans are going to cover. Whether or not you think, no, the Eagles are better than the Titans and they should blow them out by way more than 4.5 points. Place your thoughts on that spread, any other spread, any player prop, whatever bet it is you have on the NFL for this weekend. Make sure it's on BetMGM and make sure it's promo code ATOZ Sports on the app to get a risk-free bet up to $1,000.
All right, so do you buy or sell the college football playoffs 12-team expansion that is happening in 2 seasons from now? So the 2024 season that turns into January of 2025 will see the college football playoff expand from 4 to 12 teams. So we asked you buy or sell. I'll set it up real quick. There's already a bunch of comments coming in, but for exercise purposes, this is what it would look like this season, right? 12 teams, the top 4 teams get a bye, and then the first round, so 9 versus 8, 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11, and 7 versus 10 played on the home college campuses of the higher seeded school. So Penn State hosts Clemson, Ohio State hosts the Green Wave of Tulane, Tennessee hosts Kansas State, and Alabama would host the Utah Utes. Then, obviously, you have the winner go up, and it kind of matches the same numbers as NCAA tournament seedings as you get closer, and neutral site Big Six games that follow the quarterfinals, semifinals before that playoff. So, I like the idea of the home game there for the higher seed in that first round. Tennessee, Michigan, Rose Bowl, sign me up, right? Alabama, TCU, Cotton Bowl. That's a great matchup for TCU right there. So there's a lot of interesting matchups here, Sam. So I'll send you to the chat. Are people buying or selling this idea?
All right, let's see. Jake is giving a sell, sell, sell. Rooney is selling. Jonathan's buying. Steven says buy. More games is more money. Johnny is buying. MB is buying. Guy is buying. Orlando's buying at full price. Yuri is selling. Steven is buying. Let's see what else we got here. Aaron says buy. Honky Tonk says buy. Ronnie says buy. Steven says sell. College football would outrank NFL with this move. Zach says buy. Jarrell says buy. Let's see. KG doesn't like college at all. Says college is doo-doo. What else we got? Buy from Scott. Buy from Henry. Buy more football. Pistol Ramsey. Buying from Jermel says, I love this style. Make that happen soon. Well, it is happening soon. 2024, Jermel. As Austin said, it is happening. This is not an idea, anything anymore. This is going to happen. So yeah, it looks like the chat pretty overwhelmingly towards buy. Austin, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I want you to go because I've got some numbers that I want to hear your opinion, and then I want to be able to have you react to my numbers here.
Yeah. So I will argue this with anybody on the planet. I will argue it till the day that I'm no longer on this planet. This is the best thing that has happened to college football ever. This is a great moment for college football. It's a great moment for sports fans. I am buying this. I'm paying triple price. I don't care what it costs. Buy. The college football 12-team playoff is incredible. I love there is no argument against it for me. I don't see one. I don't care about blowouts. I don't care. They get blown out anyway. Give me more teams, more money, more fan bases excited, more cause for conversation, more football games. And the one time that there is a Cinderella story, it's one of the greatest moments in sports history. It is a buy all the way, and there is an undisputed national champion if you can go through that gauntlet of the top 12 teams in the country to win it all. I don't see an argument against it. And I like this elitist mentality that is in college football among the top 2 or 3 programs saying you have to be perfect. That's why it's so great. It ruins the sport. It's why I've never cared. It's why half the country doesn't care, because you lose one game and your season's over on September 15th. There's no fun in college football when the games don't matter once you lose a game. So play for something. Play for the top 12, play for the playoff, play for a national title chance. It's amazing. I love every bit of it. I'll hear your numbers. And I'll react however, but this is really, really good for college football. And personally, Austin, as somebody who we've talked about, I grew up watching college basketball. I'm a college basketball fan because I always felt like I had something to root for. get in the tournament. We'll see what happens. And being from Big Ten country for programs that not necessarily have any real football aspirations, this now pulls me back in to say, well, we can go 9-3, have a good year, and maybe we sneak into the college football playoff, and then anything can happen. It gets more people invested, and I know it's probably a hot take down here, but this SEC show is no fun. It ruins college football. Like, nobody cares other than people in 6 states. So, like, that's my little rant. But I want to make the rest of the country care about college football because I think it's a really cool product that I just have a hard time buying into because none of the games mean anything. I can look at the schedule for last week or even like 5 weeks ago, I'll scroll down and be like, yeah, that's a fun matchup between 2 teams. I don't care about Washington State because what does it matter? Like at the end of the day. So, I don't know. I'm really passionate about this. I've been asking for an expansion for a long time.
So I had been against expansion for a long time because I like the elitist aspect of it, that one Power 5 team at minimum will be left out of the party, and that forces them to get better. The Pac-12 has been left out for a long, long time. It hasn't forced them to get better, though. I mean, kind of. But now USC is going to leave the Pac-12 and go to the Big Ten. So it's basically led to the Pac-12 potentially dissolving. And so how I have mixed feelings about this because I love college football, and I truly do think that once we get to this, sign me up on all of this. I'm going to watch all those games. I'm going to bet on all those games. I'm going to be glued to my television for all of them, all of these matchups that I'm going to be paying attention to. But I do think having a 3-loss team, when you play a 12-game regular season, having a 3-loss team, having an opportunity to potentially win a college football national championship does rub me. It rubs me the wrong way. I do, because the regular season being so valuable is what also makes college football fantastic. And so I don't like that necessarily. So here are my numbers that I was going to share. So there have been 24, and Big Ten Jeff, you're right. I was going to bring up the blowout numbers. There have been 24 games played in the 8 years of the college football playoff. There are 2 semifinal games every year and 1 championship. In the 16 semifinal games, there are only 4 games that had a final score under 10 points. So 25% of the time, they were single-digit games. And that single-digit, there was one of those that was a 9-point game, right? That's still 2 touchdowns, two full scores. So 25% of the time, the semifinals have been close. 75% blowouts. Now you take it to the national championship game that is supposed to be the best 2 teams in college football, and 3 of 8 have been decided by single digits. 5 have been double-digit victories. And so now you're sitting at 29% of these 24 games have been decided by 9 points or less. It just hasn't been good matchups. And that's with 4. With 12, it's going to get even bloodier.
You want my reaction to that?
Yeah.
That's why you expand. Because the college football has a problem with lack of parity. It has a problem with Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson. Those 4 teams. As good as Tennessee was this year, Tennessee had no chance to win the national championship. You knew that coming into the season. And that's my issue with college football. Like, Texas fans come in like, well, we're excited about Quinn Ewers. You're not winning the national title. If you play in the Pac-12, you're not winning the national title. Like, there's such a limited number of teams that are actual contenders every year. And even in the scope of Georgia versus Michigan, there's a gap there. It's too big of a gap. Now, the way to bridge that gap is not by saying, well, we're just going to run back Georgia, Alabama every damn year, because that's what it would be. So you need to put teams into the playoff. You have NIL now, which is a factor in bringing better players to different schools. And now there's the idea of I don't have to go to one of two programs to have a chance to win a national title. I can play in big time games in December and January with whoever. I can go to Utah and get seen on national television the same way that I can at Alabama. That's good for the sport. And over the more years you have that in place, the more you're going to see kids not going to the same two or three programs, but spreading out because the love is getting shared.
And that's where I started this by saying I had been anti-expansion for a long time. And over the last, I don't know, maybe 12 to 13 months, I've changed my feeling. I am pro expansion. 12 teams, that'd be interesting, right? Because we'll have to figure out, will players that it could be high draft picks that are, teams 9 through 12, will they have opt-outs for the draft because of injury concerns of having to play not two, but an extra 2 rounds of playoffs to get to where you want to go. So I am pro and I am buying this because I absolutely agree. While the first few years of a 12-team playoff will create more blood drawn, it is better for the longevity of the sport. You've got to get through the first 3 years of massive blowouts in the round of 12, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the championship to be able to have that trickle down to more teams. I am everything you said. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I see these comments. What Jake is saying, like those top 2 or 3 programs have all the money, and that there's only like couple teams that can really beat each other, anyways. I agree and I disagree, Jake. The who can beat who I disagree with. Like generally speaking, yes, but we've seen this year a couple times teams that have no business losing, like Tennessee's one of those top teams. They lose to South Carolina. You've got Alabama, but coming into the year, you would have thought Alabama was a slam dunk college football playoff team. And if you would have said, well, they have to play LSU, you would have thought, well, they're going to blow out LSU because they're on a different level than LSU right now. LSU beat them. So, but the way to answer for what you say down there is 2 or 3 programs have all the money is not to just keep giving them all the money by running them back to the college football playoff every year and having them be the national champion. At that point, like, what are we doing? Just name, why are we having a college football playoff? Georgia's the best team on paper. And that's not going to change anybody's opinion until you play games. So let's just call Georgia the national champion and call it quits. And TCU and USC and all these teams that have had big seasons, sorry, go play in the Rose Bowl.
And I guess why I think 12 does work is because there is still a benefit to the top 4, right?
Yeah.
You get a bye week. And you bring up the Tennessee South Carolina game, because if it was already the 12-team playoff, Tennessee goes into Columbia, South Carolina, and they say, look, there's really nothing that Tennessee can do to lose out on the top 12. The only thing they could have done is lost to South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Then they're out. But they say, look, we can walk into South Carolina and lose and then beat Vandy by 50 and Tennessee's in the top 12 and you're okay. And so that kind of sucks. But with the caveat of the bye week, Tennessee can walk into South Carolina like they did. And again, they completely overlooked South Carolina. And I think that's documented now, and say, you beat South Carolina, you earn a bye. And in Tennessee's situation, they could have potentially beaten South Carolina, beaten Vandy, be the 4th team, and not had to play in the SEC championship game. So now they get 2 byes.
Well, and Austin too. I mean, like the thing that you have to bring up is it helps the teams that, like, what do we have every year? We have teams moping about the rankings. The team that's number 5 is like, well, I wish I was number 4. The best part about it is, even if you're number 5 and you're like, well, we deserve that bye, guess what? You get to play who you probably view as a cupcake, and you get to host a playoff game,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
money for the school.
Yeah,
So-
and Jeff brought that up right as you said that too. Or beat South Carolina, host the playoff game, or lose and you go on the road, right? Yeah, or you want to be in that 5 to 8.
Right.
If you
So-
can't get the top 4, you want to be the 5 to 8, so you don't want to be the 9 to 12.
And then the last thing that I have to say, pull up the bracket once again here.
Yeah.
You said you have an issue with a 3-loss team. It rubs you the wrong way that they can win a national championship. Austin, pick out a 3-loss team on here real quick for me.
Oh, I mean, no, right now there are
well,
not.
okay, but so Kansas State is a 3-loss
Well,
team.
yeah, that's right. Kansas State. Yeah. And if Kansas State loses, and this is also the thing too of the conference championship games with a 12-team playoff, does the conference championship game now hurt the conference in a way? Because the Big 12 would love to have both TCU and Kansas State in the playoff, but one of those teams is going to get a loss. So now the Big 12 is like, man, we hope Kansas State wins so they don't get bumped out of the 12.
But see, like the deal is with Kansas
Same thing
State,
with the Pac-12 and with Utah.
Yeah, I mean the Kansas State right here. You pull it up again real quick, because I want to make a point off of this graphic. If Kansas State as a 3-loss team beats Tennessee, beats Tennessee in Knoxville, beats Michigan in a Rose Bowl, beats TCU or Alabama in the semifinal, and beats Georgia in a national title game, I don't care how many losses you had in September and October. You are my national champion. And it goes both ways. Like Clemson has played an ugly year of football. If you beat Penn State, Georgia, USC, or Ohio State or whoever it is, and then Michigan in the national title, that's a national champion. So I think it's a self-correcting issue where if it really is 2 or 3 elite teams, they're going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
But the Cinderella runs are going to be so worth it. And you cannot make an argument to me that a team that wins 4 games in that gauntlet in a row, with many of them coming on the road, doesn't deserve to be the national title. Like, that's why you play the games.
I think my biggest problem with it is the conference championship game aspect, because like Utah and Kansas State are underdogs in their conference championship games. They both have 3 losses.
Yeah, and they benefit from if they weren't in the game.
Yes, if they lose that game, now Washington is number 12, but technically Tulane gets that spot because they're the highest ranked group of 5 team. So now Washington, who is 10-2 but did not win their division in their conference and did not play in that, benefits from not winning their division, and then they get bumped up. And then you have, like, do you benefit Florida State, who's 13? Like, if both Kansas State and Utah lose, does Washington and Florida State at a weird 10-2 for Washington and 9-3? And then you got LSU at 14, who should lose to Georgia. It just, I guess that's the problem, is that you're always going to have 3-loss teams in it because of the conference championship losers.
Yeah. But like I'm fine with that. And the reason I'm fine, it comes back to what I said. Like, I also love too, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Tulane is in that little picture because the top AP rated or college football playoff rated group of 5 gets in as well.
So if you're number 12, then you're furious, right? If you're Washington right now, you're pissed because Tulane's at 18, but you're at 12, but you don't get in because Tulane bumps you.
Well, I mean, somebody's always going to be upset, but it comes down to, would you rather have a 1-loss team that lost in September upset because they're ranked number 5, or have it like, if TCU loses their conference championship game, there is a chance the committee takes them out of the playoff despite winning every game and being penalized for playing in a conference championship game that they might not win. Would you rather have a 1-loss TCU who has beat everybody all season and lost in the conference championship game upset, or a 3-loss Florida State being like, man, we should have gotten that 12 spot? Like, at that point,
I'm way better for teams ranked 12 through 15 to be pissed than teams ranked 5 through 8. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just comes down to, like, I think it gives everybody something to play for, and you're never really out of it until you're out of it. Like, if you're in the 6, 7, 8 win territory, you're just the team that's playing for your bowl game, and you're hoping to have a nice bowl game.
Yeah.
If you start getting in the 9 and 10 win category, then you actually care about the college football playoff late in the season. So, like, I know there's concerns. I think they're all self-correcting problems. And I agree with what you said earlier. Over time, this is better for college football because more fan bases. I believe Nick was in here earlier saying he would be dreaming if Kansas State went on that run. And I'm sure somebody he said, crown my cats. I'm sure Nick is somebody that agrees.
Uh-oh. Sam's gone. What happened to Sam? Where did Sam go? Let's see how fast Sam can jump back in here.
Whoa.
What did you do? You took me out.
Yeah, there we go. We're back. I don't know what happened. I was scrolling with my mouse. It backed me out. But yeah, I got to get to Nick real quick. Nick is somebody that has to like this as a Kansas State fan because like that's another program that I feel for of they have good seasons semi-regularly. Utah, Kansas State, a lot of these Big 12 schools, but they're never going to compete for a national title unless you expand because they're always going to have 2 losses or something. They're never going to be able to get an edge over some of these other Oklahoma and Texas, I guess now are headed to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be fun to be a K-State fan and be watching your favorite college football team in November with national title hopes still alive. That's good for the sport. Absolutely. It's going to sell out games. It's going to boost TV ratings. It's a lot of positive. I buy it, like I said. So this is why I wanted to talk about it, though, because I feel like we had to, we had to talk about it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get to Ain't That Good News here on the show, but let me tell you guys about Wilson County Hyundai. If you're looking for a new ride this holiday season, Wilson County Hyundai has the deals and the products. That technology in the Hyundais, guys, these days is incredible. So go drive a little quick trip outside of Nashville. We're going to save money in Lebanon to go see our friends and Payne Bone at Wilson County Hyundai. Check them out. Make them a part of your new car buying process. If you're looking for a vehicle for your son or daughter, the new 16-year-old that might be coming around the corner, or just you, your wife, your husband, whoever it might be, go to wilsoncountyhyundai.com or go see them in Lebanon. Tell them A to Z sent you, and you'll get a great deal there with Wilson County Hyundai.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks for good reason, giving you a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000 when you use the promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app. It means if you place your bet on any NFL team, any NFL bet you want, if it doesn't hit, it's risk-free. You get that money back into your account with a chance to replace a bet. You get another shot at it. More opportunities to win money with risk-free betting. No reason not to do it when it's risk-free. So find your NFL bet, place it on BetMGM, promo code ATOZ Sports on the king of sportsbooks.
All right, time for Ain't That Good News. Ain't That Good News every Friday. Denise says good news. Sam is back in the chat. Look, people were saying that I kicked Sam out. I didn't touch anything.
That did not disavow. Austin did not kick me out.
I did not kick out Sam.
He did not kick me.
I didn't touch anything. No hands were on the computer to kick Sam out, but sometimes that happens. Aaron says good news. Hope to get his Christmas shopping done before December 18th. Just got started this morning. Wish him luck. Sam, how's your Christmas shopping going?
Stagnant, but
has it begun? And then
no, I bought one thing. Me and my friends do a Secret Santa every year. I have my Secret Santa present purchased. That's out of the way. The rest of it has not happened yet. So, I'm a last second shopper every year. I always buy stuff like December 20th is when I go and I do my shopping. That's kind of just how I've always been. I don't know.
I will say we have taken great advantage of the pre-Black Friday deals and the Black Friday deals. I only have like 2 things left to do.
See, I get it.
The problem is
I am more of a I feel like I cherish the Christmas spirit a little bit more when I can think about what to buy someone for a longer period of time. It's like, ooh, there's just like an added element of like, I still can go buy gifts for people that keeps it alive. But so far, not much progress on the Christmas present front, but I probably also need to get ahead of that because it always sneaks up on me. That's the other thing is I'm getting ready to buy something online or whatever. And then I look and it's December 15th and it's like, oh, if it's 2 week shipping, you're out of luck here, buddy.
Yep.
So
the only problem with buying things early is that now my office has turned into the Christmas gift storage unit up for like a month. So other good news here. Jeff says good news. Utah is going to beat USC and Ohio State will make the playoffs as the 4 seed. I think that would be good for Tennessee fans because Vol fans would rather go to the Orange Bowl instead of Ohio State try to steal that Orange Bowl bid, which I think is ridiculous. Jabu says good news. The Utah Utes are going to beat USC tonight and put his Buckeyes in the playoffs. So we got 2 with Big Ten Jeff and Jabu. Mr. Jones says good news. U.S. soccer round of 16 match kicks out tomorrow morning. That was going to be my good news because I'm pumped. Games at 9. I've been watching these games. I've watched all 3 of them so far through the pool play and group play. I'm pumped to get up early tomorrow. Not early. I'm up anyway. Game starts at 9. I'll be up for a couple hours. But yeah, I'm excited for this. And I did see this, and I told Sam this before we jumped on. I'm not calling this good news. This is just I'm adding information to the good news that is the U.S. is playing in the round of 16 game tomorrow. But in addition to that, here's extra information. This is coming from a reporter covering the World Cup based out of New York, but he's covering the World Cup. It says, it seems the flu has also hit the Dutch camp after the Brazilian one. Before their World Cup round of 16 match tomorrow, they won't say how many players are sick, but it appears all-important playmaker Frenkie de Jong is among the Dutch players hit with the flu.
Not Frenkie de Jong.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Me either. But apparently he's an all-important playmaker for the Dutch.
No,
So,
known playmaker Frenkie de Jong.
I mean, have you watched the Netherlands play soccer?
Also have
in
not.
The last 8 years?
I think I've watched like 2 soccer games all in the last 8 years, and they were both within the last week.
Yes, and to answer everybody's question about Christian Pulisic, yes, he is ready to go.
Yeah, let's see what else we got.
Christian Pulisic's Frank is good. Frenkie de Jong is not good.
No, that I like what you did there. I got to address this one.
Okay.
Because surprisingly, Austin, I know we go on and on about what Sam has done or what hasn't done and making fun of my age and the young pup, all this stuff. I am an in-person Christmas shopper. I'm an in-person everything shopper. I maybe have bought single-digit things from Amazon in my life. I do not purchase things off. I like going in person, holding it in my hands, checking it out for myself, and buying it that way. If you told me they have it at this store, which is an hour away, I don't order it. I drive and I go look at it.
No.
I do.
No.
That is how so I wanted to get that common misnomer about me. Orlando says he hates online ordering. Stuff doesn't fit. It doesn't come as you think it will. I don't trust shipping processes. I want to see it in person to know what I'm getting. And also with Christmas shopping, I just like the Christmas spirit. To like walk around a mall. I love going to the mall. I'm a mall guy.
Oh God, the worst place in the world.
I love a mall.
All right, so here's my breakdown of this. Ironically, so you say you think you've gotten single-digit items off of Amazon.
Yeah,
I think I've sent double-digit items to you from Amazon.
Probably.
Yeah. So I do.
Everything I got like in front of me right now.
I've just sent to Sam's house via Amazon.
You just text me. You're like, yeah, it'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which the convenience of is great, I must say. But like I used to order stuff for like working out, like some supplements or creatine different. I used to order that stuff on Amazon. And then I was like, I'll go to the vitamin shop and buy it in person. Like I've just started buying everything in person at all times.
So here's the irony in this. When Buck first started, food court.
I love a food court. I do love the food court.
When Buck first started with A to Z Sports, he had yet to buy anything off Amazon. Like not a single thing off Amazon when Buck started with us. So that is interesting there too. But what this actually tells me is that you saying that you're willing to go drive an hour to pick something up. Look, there are some things, yes, that are better to purchase in person so you can see it, feel it, look at it, understand the size or whatever it might be. But you know what that tells me? That you just don't have enough stuff to do. Like that's what I'm hearing is that you are not busy enough to where you think, nope, I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to go do this hour round trip or 2 hour round trip to go buy it in person because you don't have enough things to do.
Maybe on a weekend that's true. Like it's more of like, I wouldn't do it like on like a Tuesday after work or something like that. Like day is too packed. You're correct. But like, I love a good like December Saturday being like, hey, today's going to be an 11 to 4 p.m. at the mall day. And we're going to do some Christmas shopping, get some lunch at the Panda in the Panda Express in the food court. And we're just going to walk around the mall for the vibes. I like the vibes. It's good. And then, but like, that's the other deal. If I go into a store and they're like, yeah, we don't have it in person, you can go to our other location or we can just order it for you. I'm just going to go to the other location. I don't want to I want it now. I need immediate gratification. I don't want to order a phantom thing online.
That's what it is. That's the young person in you and needing that immediate gratification.
Yes. I'm not willing to wait. So it's, if I can order it and it's here tomorrow, or I can drive an hour to the store today to get it, I'm driving. I want it now.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, that's hilarious. What was your good news?
Oh, I got so caught up. It was kind of related. My good news is just like, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm feeling the Christmas spirit a little bit. I feel like every year, December
2nd, so it's not like that late.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying like most years, especially being in school, like it's like I get done with school on break. It's December 23rd, and I'm just kind of like, okay, like sure, it's the holiday season. I don't know. I watched a Christmas movie. We've got a tree. My roommate and I have a tree in the living room right now, kind of like a half-size tree, but like we have a tree, and it's just getting me in the Christmas spirit. So I'm not a Christmas music fan. That's probably another like hot take. I like about 3 Christmas music songs, and other than that, I don't care to listen to it. But I've been feeling holly and jolly recently.
There you go. I like Christmas music for about a week. That's I can do it for a limited time.
I like Run Rudolph by Chuck Berry, and that's number 1. And I'm not sure what 2 and 3 are, but it's very limited. My catalog of Christmas music that I'll play.
There you go. All right, that'll do it for us this Friday. By the way, A to Z Sports Picks is coming up later on today, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like the show before you go. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you give us a like before you head out today, and appreciate you guys for watching. We're gonna have on Sunday Buck, Sam, and I for pregame, halftime, and postgame. Then Buck again for prime time on Sunday night. So we'll have a packed Sunday for you guys. A to Z Sports Picks coming up later today at 2 p.m. Central Time. Enjoy the start of your weekend. See you soon. Appreciate it as always.